force inducted. I disagree about the clean house. I think you give him if PK is the only guy, I'm like, you want to fire him, go ahead and fire him. Because I just don't see it, man. I don't see what he's doing. His scheme makes no sense to me. He lets you matriculate the ball down the field, but the problem is when you get in the red zone, teams are scoring. So what the hell's the point of that? I'd rather you be super aggressive and make them throw over the top all game long instead of just getting 5 to 7 yard chunks and then they're in the red zone and then they score. If you're getting 5 to 7 yard chunks like we were earlier in the year and they were kicking field goals, I'd be fine with that. That's not happening anymore. So this is a pathetic defense. And unless we can get Jimmy Lake, if he gets fired at Washington, I think you fire PK. I think you do. I think you throw a lot of money at some other assistant coach or someone else to come and be defensive coordinator because I just don't see it working. This scheme is bad in my opinion. The tackling has gotten worse. The players don't seem to play as hard. They don't play as, and that maybe it's a player thing. I don't know. I think at some point we are going to have to blame the players, and I'm putting blame on every player in this program, even the ones that care, because obviously they don't care enough. They need to hold the other people responsible that don't care. They need to light a fire under their ass or tell them, hey, straight up, like, if you don't want to be here, it's a privilege to be at the University of Texas, and you need to get the hell out. That's what they need to tell the players that don't want to be there. Like Bo Davis said on the bus. If you guys haven't seen the video, look it up. Yep, this is embarrassing. It is very embarrassing. And it's not losing. Like, I don't care. It is in this case because it's Kansas. But in the other games, it wasn't about losing. It was about the effort they showed. And then in this case, it was about the effort they showed and losing to fucking Kansas. 1-8 Kansas. Who scored the most points they scored all year, let me say this again, is Duke. 33 points to Duke. They gave up 57 points. 50 points if you want to count the pick six. I don't really care because we barely stopped them tonight. That's the point. With their backup quarterback, by the way. By the way, that guy actually played pretty well, so shout out to him. He was athletic, made some good throws on the run. I'm surprised he wasn't their starter. I disagree with this because it's too much buyout money. And who do you go get? That's the thing about this Tex program. Who do you go get? You got to give Sark time. I'm fine with giving the head coach more time. I'm not fine with giving PK time. That doesn't make any sense. Every defense that's come in for Texas in their first year has gotten better, and then if they're bad, they get worse. Chris Ash, first year, was great or pretty good last year, especially throughout the year. He got better throughout the year. Even Vance Bedford, when he got here, was decent in his first year, and then it got worse, and then we fired him. That's what usually happens. The guy doesn't usually come in and the defense gets worse. I don't know. I can't think of any defense coordinators where that happens. Usually they get better right away or they stay the same. They don't just get worse, which makes no sense to me. So unless you can get Jimmy Lake, I think you got to fire him. I really do. I just don't see it working. Looks like I'm the only listening to this now. There's more people listening to this. And by the way, all the people, please hit the like button. It really helps out the channel grow. Do this for my misery. I feel like shit right now, as we all do, I'm sure, in the comment section. If you're a Texas fan, if you're a Kansas fan, congratulations. And if you're an SEC fan, congratulations on trolling us. And if you're a other Big 12 fan, Oklahoma fan, whatever, congratulations on your trolling in the comments. That's another thing too. I mean, this was probably our second biggest recruiting weekend of the season, and we lost to Kansas. Devin Campbell, Kelvin Banks, Cam Dewberry, Harold Perkins was there again. Multiple other people. It's pathetic. I'd have to do more research on this, but like right away, the name that comes to mind, I don't think he'd do it. But Gary Patterson's there, and he's a good defensive mind, and he knows the Big 12. If you throw him a decent amount of money, he's a pretty vengeful person, I think, too. He'd probably take it because he hates TCU now. So I wouldn't mind that. I don't know if he would because he does hate Texas. There are other names. I'll do some research. I'll come back to you guys next week with that. I'm sure there's an assistant coach out there that's like, go hire whoever's right directly under Brent Venables. Someone like that. I'd rather have new blood than clearly PK. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. I just don't see it. Sark is good. That DC, I'm not sure of. I think Sark needs to take a look at this. I 100% agree. He does need to take a look at the DC position. It's infuriating. Like, and they haven't gotten better throughout the year. They've been the same. Again, Chris Ash, they were bad the first like 3-4 weeks of the season. Texas Tech comes to mind. A lot of missed tackles, over 50 points given to a really bad Texas Tech team. But they got better throughout the year. This team isn't getting better throughout the year. The offense it's fine because it stayed the same, and other than last week versus Iowa State in the first half versus Arkansas, has been pretty decent. The defense has been god awful the whole year. I can't think of a point where I was like, man, this defense is turning a corner. They're starting to look good. It just hasn't happened, and I don't think it's going to happen this year. It may not happen next year. And that's the thing too. If he is on, I never like to let a coach get to the hot seat. If you think he's going to be on the hot seat, just fire him. If we go into the season next year and he's on the hot seat, and then we have a bad game 2 games into the season, then we have to fire him. Then why didn't you just fire him in the offseason and let someone else build up what they need to do? So I definitely think it needs to be looked at. That's the one position I definitely needs to be looked at, reevaluated, see who's out there. Again, Will Muschamp's out there. He already turned us down, but that was because his kid's at Georgia. I don't know if when his kid's going to graduate. That'd be a thing to look at. There's got to be someone else. I mean, you got to find someone that can at least teach him to tackle. I mean, my God, this team shouldn't be the worst tackling team in the Big 12. Tackling is about effort and form, and they have effort. Some guys do have it, some guys don't have it, and then none of them have great form of tackling.